It was 2020 when I decided to take a solo hiking trip into a secluded forest near a small village. I had heard rumors about an ancient path that wasn't on any map, an overgrown trail, long forgotten and barely discernible, that wound its way through an eerie, desolate part of the forest. Locals warned me to stay away, but I was drawn to the idea of isolation. It felt like the perfect place to escape the world for a while. I was no stranger to hiking alone. I'd done it many times before, but there was something about this place that felt unsettling, even in the daylight. The locals spoke of strange occurrences, things that couldn't be explained by logic. But to me, they were just superstitions passed down through generations. I parked my car at the edge of a crumbling dirt path. It was barely wide enough for my vehicle, and the trees above twisted like a canopy that was trying to hide the road completely. The forest felt suffocating, as if the trees were closing in around me, but I dismissed it as just my imagination. I had my supplies, my tent, and my trusted flashlight. I took a deep breath and ventured into the woods. The path was barely there, overgrown with thick brambles and twisted roots that seemed to grow into the earth in unnatural patterns. My GPS was glitchy, cutting in and out, forcing me to rely on my instincts. The deeper I went, the more the forest seemed to swallow me. The sense of isolation grew heavier, like the woods were deliberately keeping me from leaving. Hours later, I stumbled upon something unexpected. A dilapidated old cabin, hidden deep within the forest. Its windows were shattered and the walls were caving in, but it seemed eerily untouched by time, as if it had been frozen in place. I'd heard stories of abandoned cabins, but this one felt different. This one was abandoned by more than just people. It felt forgotten, as though the world had erased it from history. I crept closer, feeling the tension in the air. The door was ajar, creaking as the wind pushed it slightly. There was no sign of anyone, but I hesitated. Something about the place made my skin crawl. Still, curiosity pushed me forward and I stepped inside. The air inside was thick with dust. Cobwebs hung in every corner, and the smell of mildew filled my nostrils. The furniture inside was old and weathered, some pieces overturned as if someone had fled in a hurry. I set up my tent in a back room, trying to shake off the growing unease. As night fell, I sat inside, eating and listening to the wind howl through the cracks in the walls. That's when I heard it. Soft footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving around the cabin. My breath caught in my throat. There was no wind, no wildlife sounds, just the faint shuffle of something moving through the underbrush outside. It wasn't a person walking, it was something else. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside, shining it into the darkness. But the forest was empty still. My stomach churned, but I convinced myself it was just nerves. I returned to the cabin, but the feeling of being watched never left. As the hours passed, I lay in my tent trying to sleep when the footsteps returned. This time, they circled the cabin. They were closer, more deliberate. My heart raced and I held my breath, terrified to make a sound. Could it be another hiker? Or had I disturbed something ancient in these woods? The footsteps stopped, leaving an oppressive silence in their wake. I thought I might be safe, but then I heard a voice, low, barely a whisper, but clear as day. "You don't belong here." My blood ran cold. I scrambled out of my tent, flashlight in hand, but when I looked around, there was nothing. The trees swayed in the breeze, but there was no sign of anyone. I ran back inside the cabin, locking the door behind me, but the whispering only grew louder, coming from all directions. It was as if the trees themselves were speaking to me, warning me to leave. I turned, and that's when I saw it, just a shadow in the corner near the broken window. It moved, just a flicker of movement, but it was enough to freeze me in place. I didn't dare breathe. The whispering stopped, and then the silence was unbearable. The next morning, I packed up quickly, desperate to leave. As I walked towards the door, something caught my eye, a footprint on the floor of the cabin. It was fresh, deep in the dust, and not mine. Not anyone I knew. I didn't waste another second. I grabbed my gear, rushed out of the cabin, and hiked back the way I came. The woods felt less suffocating as I got closer to the road, but I couldn't shake the feeling of something watching me. As I reached my car, I looked back one last time, and for the briefest moment, I thought I saw something in the window of the cabin. But when I blinked, it was gone. Some places are better left forgotten. Some things you shouldn't disturb.